Welcome to Paul Lawson Chats, a podcast for helpers. In each episode, we'll hear stories from folks from various companies and organizations who are making a real difference by bringing positive change and infusing radical good into their workplaces, communities, and world. All right, hey all, it's Paul. Today I am joined by an absolute beast of a friend of mine who does incredible work in local construction and education, Matt Demosky, who is the director of Ohio Construction Academy, which is a tuition-free high school for students that are looking to get into the trades. And I've had a chance and pleasure to speak for this group multiple times, and the students over there, it honestly kind of takes me back to youth pastor days a little bit, is what it feels like, because talking to a bunch of high school students. And it's awesome. Matt, how are you, man?
Paul, I'm doing great, man. It's
good.
It's Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, it is.
It's Team Up North week.
Yes, it is.
I feel inner peace. I feel like I'm getting recharged, and this is what it's all about: being with family and friends. So
yeah, man.
Looking forward to the rest of the week.
Yes, absolutely. Well, man, I've had, and like I said, it was a pleasure and an honor to come and speak for you guys a couple times now in mental health and suicide prevention. And I love the work that OCA does and how it exists in local construction. And I want to explore that because I want every company in Columbus to know about the work that you do and the kids that are out there getting education from you and over at OCA. So tell me about you. Like, what's your story? Like, what's your background? How did you get into this? Like, go back, you know?
Yeah. A very unorthodox, non-traditional path that I took into education and construction.
Yeah.
I appreciate you giving me the platform to share it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I will tell you this, Paul, divine intervention, brother.
Yeah.
My degree is from Ohio University,
Okay.
Health Services Administration.
Sure.
So I was supposed to be in healthcare, running a hospital, long-term nursing facility. Born and raised Athens, Ohio, graduated from OU. 2011 is when I graduated, bachelor's in Health Services Administration. From 2011 to 2016 were very, very dark times for me. I was used to being the best athlete wherever I was, top student wherever I was.
Yeah.
However you want to frame it.
Sure.
And I was completely lost for those 5 years. Depression, anxiety through the roof. I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And then I kept pushing, I kept grinding. Couldn't really get my foot in the door with healthcare because it was, well, you don't have a master's degree, so we can't give you the big boy jobs. Well, I would apply for the high school diploma equivalent jobs and they would say, yeah, but you don't have any experience and you're overqualified. So I was like in this pigeonhole that I feel like most millennials face.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my mom, I think it was 2012, 2013, I said, Mom, I'm just so broken. Like I remember where I was. I remember sitting in her living room on her couch and just telling her like, I've never been this low and I'm broken.
Wow.
So fast forward a couple years later, I get an opportunity in 2016 to go the behavioral healthcare route. And I said, well, you know, the administration part of healthcare isn't working. Let me try this behavioral side. So I got an opportunity to be a program manager with the youth ages 5 to 12. These were children that had trauma, they had behavioral issues. I mean, it was a natural fit. I did so well there. The kids really loved me. I loved them. They could see that, you know, it was an authentic fit. So I ended up taking over the day treatment unit there. Did that for about a year and was just so happy that I had employment, was so happy that I was making a living for my daughter and wife at the time. And the education consulting company who taught these kids, they said, hey, we're taking over a high school, Northeast Columbus. It's called Ohio Construction Academy. Would you want to join? I said, no. They said, well, you're great at what you do. I said, yeah, but my degree's not in education. I don't have a teaching license. I don't know anything about construction.
Yeah.
So I'm
Right.
like, this has nothing, relatable to what I'm experienced to do.
Right.
And because of their relentless effort is where I am today.
They kept knocking at your door. They were like, you're doing this.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Paul, for 2 months, they were like, you're doing this. I'm like, no, I'm not. They're like, you're doing this. No, I'm not. I took a leap of faith, brother. I took a leap of faith. Things did not work out how I envisioned. I'm now 28, 29 years old now. This is 2017, 2018. I took a leap of faith, brother. And then, I ended up working out as a behavioral specialist, classroom aide, instructional aide. I mean, I started at the very bottom, then moved up to dean of students, assistant principal, and then principal the past 5 years, and now director. I mean, it's a storybook,
like
man.
Thing after thing after thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just dove in, which I think is incredible. And I love, so that's the thing. I wanted to have a podcast for helpers, and helpers are people that are going out there and saying yes to the things that maybe a lot of people aren't saying yes to, that helps in society. And this is one of those things I think that you do. You saying yes to that is helping in this little niche area of society. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I too am not from construction. As much as I'm in it, I'm not originally from it. I learned along the way. And I think,
Yep, absolutely. And that's the thing, now, 8 years later, I know quite a bit about the industry, but that's just through my 8 years of experience at OCA.
Right. Nothing wrong with that. That's really cool. Go back a little bit too. So you wanted to go into the medical field and working in hospitals and stuff. So let's go back to kid Matt. Like, what got you wanting to do that?
So kid Matt wanted to be an athlete, and then quickly realized that wasn't in my future. Although as a good athlete, it just I knew the writing on the wall early. But I've always loved sports. I've always been super athletic. I've always been a high achiever in that regard. So my first love is sports administration. Ohio University is a top 5 program in sports administration. So a lot of different arenas and leagues that you can go to in that regard. And then my first quarter at OU, I remember the guy saying, if you don't like ticket sales for the first 5 to 10 years of your career, this isn't for you. And I thought, yeah, it's not for me. So I was quickly deterred from that. And then I had an internship with O'Blennis Memorial Hospital. That's in my hometown of Athens, Ohio. And, I knew I wasn't cut out to be a nurse or a doctor or anything clinical, but I've always had a big heart and I've always liked helping people. And I thought, well, why don't I go to the administration side of this thing? So I did an internship, fell in love with it. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go this route. It just didn't work out, but I feel like the intentions were pure and I just had a different vision of where it would go. But obviously have no regrets because it got me experience in, many different aspects of just professional work life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it gave you that. Now you said something, like you've always loved helping people. You have a helper's heart. Where did that come from? Is that from your family or like where did that come from?
Yeah, that's 100% my parents. My mom and dad, and I know this is a bit cliche, but I say it in front of any audience that cares to ask. I have the best parents in the world. They've been separated, divorced since I was 2 years old, and you would never know it. They were like best friends my entire life. Yeah. My dad coached me in every sport. My mom still to this day is my biggest number one fan. She's my rock. She's my biggest supporter. And so my grandmother was an educator. She taught 35 years, retired. Her husband, my grandfather, was a school treasurer. My mom is she does a lot of low income poverty work as far as nutrition. She was invited to Washington, D.C. for all of her work with low poverty schools and getting breakfast and lunch programs. My dad is the quintessential give you the shirt off your back type of guy. Like he's our welding instructor at OCA, which you can ask about that later.
Yeah.
And I mean, he buys the kids lunch every day. I mean, but that's the way he's always been.
Yeah.
And so, as much as I, would love to take credit for, this giving heart that I have, I was nurtured and raised the right way. And that's 100% my parents. They are the most giving people, big-hearted people that you will meet. And so to me, it's no coincidence that I'm in the line of work that I am.
Yeah. The reason why I wanted to poke at that was kind of because of that, because the work that you're doing directly with the kids that you're reaching, because I've been over at OCA a couple times now, and a lot of the kids, inner city kids that are looking for a future, and they have big hearts led by somebody who has a big heart,
Absolutely.
And what your parents did for you, you are relaying that to this next generation of kids that are in that building.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And even though I know that, like, for you to verbalize that, it just clicked. Like, that's exactly, because what you will find is, OCA is such a special place, but it's also very non-traditional and unique.
Yeah.
And you will hear people call me Mr. Matt. That's the most official title I'll have.
The first time I ever walked into the building, I was just like, is Matt Demosky here? And he was just like, yeah, Mr. Matt. Yeah, he's up here. Let me go get him. Like, that's what it's Mr. Matt immediately right out of the gate.
Yeah. I mean, I'm truly their, they call me Unc, I'm their uncle. I'm whoever they need me to be.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I have a 13-year-old daughter who is my absolute world, and she's phenomenal in any aspect you want to talk about. She goes to Columbus School for Girls, but I've had people say, you don't want to have more kids. And I say, I have 140.
140 kids.
I truly believe that. Like, my calling was not to have, 5 or 6 children. My calling was to raise the kids that I have at OCA.
You got it. That's amazing, man. That's awesome. And you can tell, man, when you go in there, you're leading them well, and they love you, and there's so much respect, trust, and love there. It is always, whenever you ask me to come speak, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to get as much out of this as they're going to get out of me, because it's such a great environment and it's so cool. So I want to talk a little bit about, like, thank you for sharing your background too. Thank you. And your story and about your family. And you said that your dad does, what does he teach again over there?
Yeah, he's the welder. So we added welding 2 years ago. We had a bit of a hiccup. The reason why we added welding, we have carpentry, electrical, and at the time, welding was going to be our newest career tech program, our 3rd career tech program. But our carpentry teacher had some medical issues, so he resigned. But he was also going to be the welder, and so now we're out 2 programs. And after about 2 weeks, I'm just racking my brain. We're reaching out to industry partners. Yeah, what do we do? Yeah. And I thought, oh my gosh, my father, he is retired. But the thing of it is, the reason why he wasn't on the top of my radar is, he still lives in Athens, Ohio.
Yeah, so it's still a drive.
But brother, he accepted. He's been there over 2 years now and makes the 1.5-hour drive every Thursday and Friday. He's part-time.
I got to meet him. Next time you have me speak, bring me on a day that he's going to be there. I got to meet this guy.
Absolutely. Yeah, you'll love him.
So OCA, tell me about give me for anybody who's listening who has no idea what OCA is. I know I've said a little bit about what it is, but you tell me what it is as if I have no idea what it is.
Absolutely. So Ohio Construction Academy is a career tech high school, grades 9 through 12. That's the traditional part. The non-traditional part is the career tech. So we offer 4 CTE programs, plumbing, carpentry, electrical, welding. We do have dropout prevention. So I would say 80% of our students are traditional 9 through 12, grades 9 through 12 students who want a high school diploma and want to be career certified in the trades. The other 20% are your 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. We cut off at 21 who have dropped out of high school, or maybe they're a year or 2 behind in high school. We can catch them up with credit recovery. So you will find ages 14 to 21 at OCA, but it's all the same mission. Our goal is to get you a high school diploma. It's the same high school diploma that I got, that you got, that Ohio Department of Education delivers to every high school student. It's the same diploma. With us, you just get the career tech pathway and certifications, and our job is to employ you. We do someone said, "Oh, are you a career center?" No, we're a high school. We do trades in one half of our lab, and then we have academics and core subject learning with academic teachers upstairs classrooms in the other half. So it's a one size fits all. We do it all. We do state testing like any other public school district would do. We issue credits like any other public school district would do. It's just we're able to offer the trades in our really state of the art lab. And we have 4 career tech programs now. We've completely maxed out. So we're at 140 enrollment. And we're just continue to grow, man. We were, just a little bit of a history lesson. When I first came to OCA in 2017, we had 25 kids.
Whoa.
Yeah. So ODE says it's a law. If you have below 25, you can't have the school. It can't operate.
Right.
So I remember the struggle, brother. It was so full context. My life is at the very bottom. Personally, the school is at the very bottom.
Oh so my gosh, this was when you were going through that chapter.
Absolutely, and I'll throw in there, Paul, a divorce. So,
oh my gosh,
yeah. So when I say OCA built me, I mean that wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
the school and I grew up together.
Yeah.
It was the only. I mean, besides my family, it was the only constant I had.
Wow. Oh man. Well, I mean, look what's happened under your leadership and the folks that are out there supporting you. And I mean, so you said, how many was it at when you joined in 2017?
25.
20. So you were at 25 folks. Anything below 25. That, you cannot function below 25.
Nope. So we would lose one student, be at 24. At the time, the principal and I would be panicking, and then the next day we'd get 2 new enrollments. Now we're at 26, then we breathe again. It was, stressful.
Yeah, no joke. Wow. So how did you, so, and then how does this all function? Like, as far as how did you grow that enrollment? And then ultimately, what's the graduation rate into the industry? And then are you able to stay connected to those folks that are still working in the industry? And what all does that look like?
Absolutely. Those are wonderful questions. So we're at a 90% graduation rate.
Awesome.
And specifically with graduates going into the trades. So someone asked me, in your 8 years at OCA, what are you most proud of? I would say in 2023, class of 2023 graduation, we had 16 graduates, which I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but that was record breaking.
No, but that's, yeah, right.
We had 14 out of the 16 already employed in the trades before they walked the stage.
Incredible.
Yep. And so this past year, we had a record-breaking 21 graduates. 16 out of the 21 are in the trades now, and the other 5 are scratching and clawing to get into the trades. Like someone a graduate just got hired with fire and ice the other day. So that number, those 5, like I'm still in touch with them. Our graduates, our alumni, they have my personal cell. So until they're employed, we don't stop. Right. I think what's special about us, we have an annual job fair every May. Mm-hmm. But if you're an alumni and you haven't received employment in the trades, we're inviting you back.
Wow.
So you could have graduated a year or 2 ago, but maybe things just didn't pan out.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's say, Miles McClellan Constructions is at the job fair. Come talk to them.
Yeah.
Come talk to Owen and let's see what we can get done. And I would say too, the school culture is, and I think this, Paul. It's second to none. It's phenomenal.
It is.
Anytime I would speak as the administrator at OCA, I would say this campaign is built on love. That $1 million lab meant nothing in 2017. We had 25 kids.
Yep.
You have to build the school culture. You have to build it on love, family, care, nurturing relationships. Once the kids trust you, now you have it all. Now you couple that with $1 million lab program. Now you've got what the state of Ohio says in back-to-back years for OCA. We're exceed standards. We're an A+ rated school, Paul. They tried to close us down in 2017. We're on our third strike of a failing district.
Right.
We are now back-to-back champs, baby. We are exceed standards, A+ rating the past 2 years. And I tell everyone that'll listen, that's relationships and that's built on love.
That's right.
That's why the program is successful.
And you can feel it. You can feel it the second that you walk in that building. I remember when you first asked me to come speak, I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea. Somebody kind of told me, it was Dean who was telling me, Dean on your guys' board, who was telling me, giving me a little bit of a heads up. But like, I still was just like, I don't know what to expect. Here's the fun part is, and I don't know if you knew this at the time. Like when I was a youth pastor, of a very diverse student ministry. And that means socioeconomically, racially, like these were my kids. And I had 400 students under me. Like, so I remember running weekends and it was just like, how do you make this all work and make sense for like absolutely the poorest and the richest neighborhoods at the same time? That was what was under my roof. So I remember I was a homeschooled kid. I should be the most socially awkward kid in the room. You know, who am I to come in and gain respect and trust with inner city kids who speak a language that I didn't know how to speak? But I learned along the way, it didn't matter about that. It's a matter of like love and care. And, you know, you bring people in like family and that speaks through it. Like, that's it, you know, and I felt that again when I came in and spoke at OCA. Like,
and Paul, like you, for the audience, man, you absolutely killed it. You knocked it out of the park, both sessions you've been in, and you can tell, like, I didn't know that. I mean, you told me about it later, but I could tell, like, you were used to that type of audience and population, just your vibe and your aura. And like you said, the kids were so receptive of you. I mean, these are teenagers. Let's not kid ourselves. We have our struggles and they've been locked in on you on both sessions. So I could just tell, like, Paul gets it, man.
Yeah.
He's been there. And so I just want to thank you, brother.
Oh.
Like you've been incredible.
No, it's a pleasure. No, you have incredible students over there, and I love talking to them. And I mean, I do want to. So with OCA, I want to like let everybody know, like the community, and you know, I talk to so many companies that are just like, oh, our workforce, we need to grow our workforce. What do? We need to, you know, knowing that there's a school out there that's designed to offer a future to kids who may struggle with thinking that there is a future, right? You know, and knowing that something like you exists, every company needs to know about OCA. Every single company needs to know about OCA. So how is OCA? OCA is a nonprofit, right? I mean, it's tuition free. So grants, or are you company sponsored, or how does that work?
Yeah. So we're tuition free nonprofit. We're classified as a community school, also known as a charter school.
Okay.
So our budget is strictly FTEs, which are full-time equivalents. So basically an FTE is a student. So however many students you have is your budget. When we had 25 students, we had no budget. At 140 students, for OCA standards, we're living large. We're doing phenomenally. And good. How do you get funds to increase, and how are you able to spend the money that is needed in your program? Get more kids. It's that simple. Get more students. Now, to the second part of that, and you kind of alluded to it, the state of Ohio, especially under Governor DeWine, has done a phenomenal job of career tech, workforce ready grants. Yeah. So we're able to get chunks of money to supply instructors, to pay their salaries. We're able to buy equipment for the lab. We're able to buy personal protective equipment for our students. We're able to buy different machinery and supplies for the welding program. We're able to expand into a fourth career tech program of plumbing like we did this past year. Mm-hmm. So enrollment coupled with state grants, that's how you stay. That's how you function, and not even just function. That's how you thrive. You know, correct. You're crushing it. So you guys are at what? You said 140 right now.
what's your vision? Like, what are you wanting to grow this thing to? Are there other OCAs in the world? Or are you kind of like an anomaly? Like where you just
We're kind of an anomaly.
okay.
So I will tell you this. About a year and a half ago, I was approached by our school board and management company, like, hey, what is your goal and vision? And we
Yeah.
were about at 115 kids at the time.
Right.
I said this at the time. I said, we can max out in our current building at 140.
Okay.
We can expand to one more career tech program, which now is plumbing, to
Right.
get to 4. And I said, what makes OCA so special and unique is the school culture, the family atmosphere. So if you're asking me personally, I want to cap it there.
Yeah.
However, because those goals have been met so quickly,
Right.
we've now maxed out with enrollment. We've now maxed out with space and CTE. I could see, and Dean and Owen and Ross, they would be great to ask about this. I could see OCA in the next 5 years expanding.
Awesome.
I could see a satellite location. I could see just building a whole new facility where it holds 250 to 500 students. It's really wherever the powers that be want to go, because we can make this thing however we want.
Yeah.
And as you know this, as a industry expert, the construction field's not going anywhere. It's growing.
You better betcha.
I mean, I feel like our enrollment's only going to get higher once people truly realize the need that's out there.
I mean, especially here in Columbus. I mean, Lord have mercy. It's
booming.
Nonstop. I know, it's boomtown. And I think what you guys offer, it's an interesting thing. I come from a union electrical contractor, you know, where a lot of folks almost see the apprenticeship as kind of like their own version of school. But what you're doing is you're offering something different that's not in addition to their standard high school. It is their high school. Yes. Like it's their high school plus tech, you know, and I think so. It's not an either or, it's a both and you guys are also reaching into a community that's sometimes harder to reach.
For sure. And so, you know, I would say 75 to 80% of our students are inner city, you know, low poverty students, low income families.
Yeah. Right.
But what I do love about OCA, it's a melting pot. It's all walks of life.
Yeah.
You will get kids from Bexley, Canal, Winchester.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, the Linden area, Northeast Columbus. I mean, it's all walks of life, and they all get along swimmingly.
They do.
I think the world, and especially our country, could take note of that.
Agreed.
You know, different backgrounds, different religious beliefs, socioeconomic statuses, but get along as if they're family.
Melting pot, beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's what I said. When your foundation is relationships and love and family, like the rest is easy, in my opinion.
I love it.
And that's what I tell them all the time. I'm like, you are so blessed to be in a city where it just keeps growing. Yeah. I mean, Paul, everywhere you go, Columbus is under construction.
I know. I was I was on Channel 10. I forgot, like a few months ago, and we were talking about like local construction. And the whole point of it was you can't drive 5 minutes without seeing a crane somewhere. You know, I mean, they're everywhere. The whole city's under construction. I mean, especially do Albany, you know, with the data centers and stuff. But it's everywhere, man. Construction's not going anywhere. Columbus is kind of it was already, you know, big city Ohio, but it's going to be it's expanding so much so fast. So I don't know. To me, it's like what you're doing and what OCA is doing in the community. That's why I wanted to ask, like, man, what's the long term on this? Because we need it. Like our industry needs what you're doing locally is impacting kids' lives. You're impacting the industry, and right now, just to see what in 8 years you've 25 kids to 140 kids. What does that look like ongoing? I don't know. I'm a fan of things. I love things that are growing and booming socially. I mean, just amazing.
Thank you.
We I've spoken on mental health and suicide prevention for your students now twice. And, as you know, we've talked statistics and, the high suicide rate. And I'm really proud that you're not shying away from the statistics and stuff. You're like, no, you kids are entering an industry that has struggled with this in the past and
Correct.
still struggling. And so but also, and I think I said this at the last presentation, I was like, you guys have the opportunity of helping shift this and turn these statistics around by bringing in a culture of care. So talk to me a little bit about that. Like, what have you seen, like, with, when it comes to mental health and suicide prevention in construction? It seems like the kids are receptive to this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say it stems from our leadership.
Yeah.
We first and foremost, we are a family. We have open communication. We talk about our feelings.
Totally.
You might walk into other high schools, or let's talk other organizations where, you're not allowed to voice your opinions. You're not allowed to voice your feelings. You're not allowed to tell staff members how you truly feel.
Leave your feelings at the door, all that stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is the exact opposite. And we've built our campaign on sharing your feelings, talking about mental health. We even partnered with a local mental health agency that just started at the school a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Who? Can I ask?
It's called People Like Me.
Okay. That's incredible.
Yeah. So, and then I'll say this from my perspective. I think males in general get this reputation of not speaking their feelings. Right. Oh, brother, that is not me. I'm the exact opposite. I'm a Pisces, and I am my mother's child. I will tell you 100% how I'm feeling 24/7.
I love that.
I bring that energy. We have morning meetings. I bring that energy every day. The story that I just told you at the beginning of this episode, I've shared with every single student and staff member.
Awesome.
I don't hide from it. I don't run from it. I talk about adversity. I talk about resiliency. And so that's trickled down to our staff. Our staff have that same mindset with our students. So our students feel comfortable talking about mental health.
I love it.
And I think having industry experts such as yourself come in and speak. So it's not Mr. Matt all the time. It's not the different OCA staff members. You have an industry leader like yourself, Paul, coming in, speaking to the kids. We have, and you've been a part of this, Real Life Wednesdays, where we have community partners in the construction industry, from HR to foremen to contractors, and they're speaking to the kids about these things.
Yeah.
Once again, we're not running from it. We're hitting it head on, and we're hoping that will reduce and prevent some of the things, as it relates to suicide and mental health.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing right now, and I've been talking to the union a little bit too about this, about anytime that there's an opportunity that we can get these ideas of care and emotional intelligence and earlier on, the better, because a lot of these kids aren't learning it at home, and not just in construction, that's all over the place. There's all sorts of people that aren't growing up with these concepts, So for us, we're providing those concepts for the first time for a lot of us, So emotional intelligence and active listening and empathy and all of these things that are tools that can be used to turn around these suicide statistics and to normalize mental health in industries like construction that desperately need it. So, man, I think I love that you are highlighting this, and I can tell, man, there's just something about, I don't know, there's an environment that you've made over there at OCA that tells me right now, that gives me there's such a bright future for construction when the students that are in it right now that are learning it, they're all going to come into the industry and bring that with them.
100%. I appreciate that. And I totally agree with that. And, I will say this too, Paul, that most of our students now, because the trajectory of the program has changed, it's transformed over the years. Most of our graduates are 4-year students.
Wow.
They're coming in as true freshmen. They've been cultivated and developed in our program for 4 years.
Amazing.
So I absolutely agree with you. There's going to be some superstars coming out of OCA. There already have been. So.
Oh, that's incredible. That is amazing. So how can local companies support you guys?
Yeah, so I would say just reach out to me directly to
Okay.
get a conversation going, introduction. So my email address is Matt, MATT1 at edempowerment.com. You can also, I'm willing to put my cell phone out there, 740-590-7944. That's my personal
I'm
cell.
not going to edit it out.
Nope, leave it.
I'll leave it in.
And I would, for construction purposes, but also for school culture, I would highly encourage people to visit our Facebook page. You simply would just go to Ohio Construction Academy, like our page, and do me a favor and go through there and see how we celebrate and recognize our students.
I love that. I love that. There's one of the things that I'm finding in our industry. Our industry is a little slow to celebrating stories. And, sure, maybe they throw some stuff out on LinkedIn about like, hey, we reached this milestone on this job, but to celebrate people and stories, that's something that we're still like figuring out how to do. So, I mean, the fact that you guys are doing that, man, keep setting that standard for the rest of the industry. So tell me this, what do you think the future of the industry looks like I always try to wrap up. I know we talked about this a little bit already, but I want to wrap up with this a hopeful look at the future, of our industry. And I think you have a perfect vantage point about a hopeful view of the future because you get to work with the future of the industry and help train and teach the future of our industry every day. So from your angle, 5 to 10 years from now, what does construction look like based on these kids that are going to come in and take over?
Yeah. So I think the reputation around construction is going to be completely transformed. I think you're going to have some of the brightest minds into the industry. This Gen Z generation, irritating, I'm fully aware. They wear pajama pants when it's 80 degrees, don't understand it. But I'm telling you, when you have a conversation with these students, they're brilliant. They're highly intelligent. You're going to see a very unorthodox approach, but an effective approach that's going to transform the industry. And these kids are passionate. This Gen Z generation, they care.
Yeah.
They really care about people. They care about their work. So what you're going to see is you're going to see some of your brightest minds, highly intelligent students, instead of going to a traditional college, university, what they're going to do is they're going to get into the trades and then they're going to backtrack to that.
Yep.
So they're going to get the industry experience, and then they're going to get an employer to help, supply their tuition to maybe get a construction financial management degree. But they're going to be the leaders in the field, and they're going to be doing it from the forefront. They're going to be the boots on the ground. And I truly believe this. In 5 to 10 years, the construction industry, and in Columbus alone, it's going to be booming and thriving. And I believe the students that I work with will have a major part of that.
I love it. That's some fiery vision, and I love it. And I see it. Absolutely. And honestly, too, as a former youth pastor who spent a lot of time with Gen Z, these kids are brilliant. They're
so smart.
They are.
They're so smart.
Wickedly smart. And they go and figure stuff out themselves. And yes, they do it in unorthodox ways that us millennials and generations past, we don't even think to do. That's just what they grew up with. That's the norm for them. So it's rather than, and I think for the longest time, I used to poke fun at the idea of Gen Z in construction. And it's like, no, you listen, or what people are uncomfortable with is how sharp they are when it comes to technology, especially. But like what they bring to the table is I think it's industry revolutionizing. I think it could be. And that's what I'm really excited about seeing.
Absolutely. And I will say this because you sparked something in me. I work with millennials, and is it Gen X that's above me?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you this right now, the Gen Z are problem solvers. The age groups I work with rely on you to solve issues.
Yeah.
This Gen Z solves them themselves, which I appreciate. Just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, some people would say that's a hot take. I don't think it's a hot take. I think it's just, I think if you're being real about Gen Z and what these kids have grown up with, and it's like, I remember back in the day, And, if you wanted to look up something knowledge wise, you had an encyclopedia on the wall, like this is pre-Wikipedia, I remember we had a giant wall encyclopedia and you had to go look it up. And now you have access to everything. And to them, that's the norm. That's what they grew up with. They have a different mindset going into this industry, and I think it's only going to make our industry better at what they bring to the table.
Yep, couldn't agree more, Paul. And, people talk about AI. I believe construction, and I read this the other day, I believe it's the only industry not going to be affected.
Yeah.
Like, you're still going to need people to do the jobs.
You bet.
So I tell our kids all the time, you want job security, go into construction.
Yeah. I don't think that they're going to have robots doing what they can do to build buildings yet. I know that they can 3D print houses, but those houses don't. It's not there. It's not there, and it's not going to happen anytime soon. I think we need people who are well trained and resilient and know how to work in an industry like ours with their hands. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. Okay. So I know you already said this. I want to cap though with this, and you already said, how can companies get connected to you? I'm going to flip that, and it might be the same information. How can people get directly connected to you?
Yeah. So my email address is Matt, MATT1 at empowerment.com.
Okay.
Personal cell phone, 740-590-7944. And please do me a favor and go to Ohio Construction Academy on Facebook and like our page.
Awesome. Okay. Dude, thank you so much for being on today.
I appreciate it, man. This was a lot of fun, Paul. Appreciate you as always, man.
You're
Thank
good,
you so
dude.
much.
Well, the work that you're doing is incredible, and I'm excited because I feel like I just got connected to you here within the last year, but I've got a lot of years ahead, hanging out with y'all, and I'm really excited about that. It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again. And for everybody who has tuned in, thanks for tuning in again, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Paul Lawson Chats. See ya.